Hey everybody, Quicksilver here. Happy update day and update week. I've got a video today on the Francesco Ferrucio, and this is an Italian cruiser at tier 6. It's got 29,000 health. It's got 10.5 second reload on 2 quad turrets, 152 millimeters, so they're pretty small, but they shoot that SAP, but they also shoot HE, so you get the option of those two rather than just SAP and AP. So you can set fires, you can also hit with SAP, you get your options. I prefer this way. The guns are 360 degrees, so or the one on the back is a 360 degree gun. I'm sure I'll use it in this video. And the torpedoes are long range, 11.5 kilometers, 56 knots, super slow, but they hit for about 14,000 damage. Its AA is pretty average at 51, not much else to say there. And its maneuverability is unbelievable. It's got a 6.5 second rudder shift time, 620 meter turning radius, so really tight turns, and a 36.5 knot speed with a 9.1 kilometer detectability. So you're going to stay under the radar, not literally, figuratively, under the radar very, very frequently in this game, in this boat, excuse me. But I gotta say, I like this update. I'm going to talk about a little bit about the update, a little bit about the boat. But I like this update. I think it's got some pretty cool ships to offer. I always think the Italian cruisers are super interesting just because the SAP is so fun to use. I'm a huge fan of Brindisi and Amalfi, and I cannot wait for that L tier. I forget what it's called, but the L tier light cruiser with SAP is so exciting, and I'm going to start that as soon as I finish Vermont and Z52, which I think I'm on the second to last thing for. But it also gets that rolling smoke that sticks around for a little bit under 45 seconds or something like that, and you can just use that as a little break to get some damage off for free. Or you can use it to get out of sticky situations, but here's a good way to show off here that turning radius. I mean, it's just like, whenever it turns, it's on a dime, and it's really, really, really fun to use, especially when kiting. And kiting is fun because it's got some really good backwards firing angles, but it's also good to kind of like charge. You can charge other cruisers and destroyers really well because of the turning quickness and the tight turns, as well as that rear gun being 360 makes it so that you have options when using them for trickery. So I do get smacked here at some point by this Nagato, because like I said, yeah, I think he citadeled me, I believe, probably through the deck. It's not got super strong deck armor. It's not got really strong armor at all. But you know, it's a glass cannon, you could say. If you play it carefully, it's super rewarding. I mean, and look, those torpedoes are going basically with the speed of the current, but it gets there, I think. Yeah, it gets there. Started a flood. He has to DC that flood. I don't even know if he ends up DCing that flood. I think that flood, yeah, that flood sticks around for the rest of that Nagato's life. And then the thing about the SAP, especially with tier 6 boats, is the better the armor is, the harder it is to actually be able to pen with the SAP, but it is still very good to use, especially if you find that sweet spot. Usually if the boat has a weak bow armor, targeting the bow armor, or targeting superstructure, or targeting basically any cruiser. I mean, whenever you're shooting it at cruisers, it absolutely chunks. And I just have no bad things to say about this boat. I'm really, really impressed. It's way better than I expected it would be, and it's just an absolute ton of fun. But it's not easy to use, so keep that in mind. When playing it, you have to pick your targets carefully. So if you have target options, pick the one with the weaker armor. So like, try to stay away from Russian boats. The Russian boats have really good bow armor usually. The Italians have really good bow armor usually, and the basically any of the German battleships you're going to probably struggle with the most. But they really can chunk some French battleships, and then it absolutely smokes destroyers. I wish we could see what this did, but I had 58,000 damage before hitting those 4 shells, and after them I have 63,000 damage. So it's like that was like 5k half salvo basically on a destroyer, which it just liquidates their health bar. And see here, I'm gonna do, here's a really great example of why, if you're in a defensive position in a destroyer, which this destroyer was, he saw me charging after him, so he smoked to drop spot. You cannot stay in that smoke. It will be a torpedo magnet. So our other teammate, our destroyer, dumped some torpedoes in there. None of those are going to hit. I dumped torpedoes towards the back of the smoke because I figured he'd probably not want to be where he was last seen, because that's really a bad idea. And then I put one towards the front just in case he didn't move. But we do get a hit on the torpedo, I think. Yeah, right there. We get a hit on the torpedo. And I'm shocked that he even survived that. I really do not know how he survived that. And I think we had him flooding there for a second. I guess he just didn't have his DC, but there he is, and there he goes. Very quick, I figured that I would be able to hop into the smoke right after I killed him, which I was able to do, and now we're just going to go ahead, use the rest of his smoke to destroy the Crotchelo. I did look over to the other side of the map just to kind of see what was going on over there. It doesn't look like there's anyone I could hit, so I'm going to just maintain the rest of this smoke and try to do as much damage to this Crotchelo as I can, who's kind of doing the best he can to stay alive while also dealing damage and kind of holding up this flank, while the rest of his team hopefully would have wrapped around and successfully won their flank, but we'll have to wait and see what happens there. But right now I've got 3 kills, 73,000 damage in this boat, which this isn't even like an absolutely crazy nuts game. It's just a very solid game and a boat that feels really, really strong. Now he's going to go ahead and eat a couple of those, so I'm going to assume that he floods, and I was going to try to set him on fire until this Orkin caught our attention. So our teammate focused him and just smacked him, and we're going to try to go for the finish here. He slammed the brakes, and look, that's all it takes. These guns are, against destroyers especially, devastating. Absolutely devastating. And so we're sitting at 4 kills, and obviously we're going to try to go for the Kraken. So we hop out of our smoke. I was feeling confident that if this Crotchelo did shoot at us, I'm quick enough to dodge it and get out of the way. We don't get the kill there, which was crazy because my shells were landing as he died. And so we're just going to fast forward because as you can see on the map, their last cruiser is all the way over there. And so I'm shocked that he lived as long as he did, to be frank. But I'm going to haul butt over there to try to see if I can get my 5th kill for my Kraken in the Ferrucio. This is only my 3rd game in this boat, and both other games were super fun. And this thing's cool, guys. I mean, I absolutely think it is worth giving a shot and getting. So we're going to have a good display here as to what the SAP can do to cruisers. Now, obviously, it's going to be a bit hard to hit them. It's a Greasia, which is a very similar boat, minus the torps, bigger guns, slower reload, but it's also got the smoke. And I don't really know how he stayed spotted here. I think he must have just been in the smoke firing penalty of the Hyuga. But Yeah, I mean, that was only one shell, but it's all pens. And it just, like, if you really get into a one-on-one match and you're angled against another cruiser, you're just going to outgun them, especially if you're going at them and you can change directions with that rear 360 turret. It just works. And here we go. Our Kraken shot. We just got screwed with dispersion. And we get a message from one of our teammates, as well as our Kraken yoinked. But we do finish with 2,500 XP in a capture the base game, which is pretty exciting. 95,000 damage. And here is the commander setup. I use AL Zara just because the SAP damage increase is absolutely worth it. But thank you guys so much for watching. Happy update week. I'm going to be trying to post as many of the new things as I can. Wargaming doesn't give me new boats because I am not ACC yet, but we will get there. Anyways, see you guys. Have a good one.